everybody, SonGoshuaku live with the WWE WrestleMania 41 Night 1 review. So, after Jelly Roll, who has lost a lot of weight, so much props to him, along with Triple H doing the introduction, we kick off WrestleMania 41 with the very first match, Jay Uso versus Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Alright, so with this match basically kicking off, then let's see here, so yeah, I mean, Jey Uso was really over with the entire audience. Like, I mean, man, just doing absolute huge reaction. And it's funny because I was there live when Jey Uso had won the WWE Royal Rumble into the 2025 one, and man, the audience reaction, including myself, we were going crazy with all the yeeting, and there was a lot of chatter on the internet that Jey Uso was not ready. A lot of fans did not like it, but man, you look at the audience there, and I called up my friend the man 0001 who was live there in attendance, and he said yeah, everyone was lit for that entrance, and it looked like it, absolutely. So when it came to the match, basically Gunther comes out, and you have basically Gunther. They have the match where Jey Uso is doing actually a lot of new moves. So that's one of the biggest complaints about Jey Uso is that, oh man, what's going on when he does a lot of the moves, just a lot of super kick spamming and splashes and Samoan drops. Well, here he was breaking out some of Gunther's repertoire with German suplexes, power bombs, and Gunther kept trying to put him away, and that was kind of like the story of the match. Jey Uso proving that he can do more than those 5 to 6 moves that people claim he can only do. And I will say this was better than their match that they had on Saturday night's main event. The crowd, he didn't sound as intense, which seemed to be maybe like sort of something that was going on all night. Maybe it was the audio engineering, not sure on that part, but overall, in the end, the biggest thing that I really liked about the storytelling aspect of this match is that Jey Uso, he ends up hitting Gunther with a power bomb, and then he gets the German suplex, and after that he picks after he does the German suplex, he ends up going in for the splashes, the big Samoan, the big splashes off the top rope, and he ends up putting Gunther in the sleeper, which is of course Gunther's submission move. And after that, Gunther, he ends up tapping out, having been warned out too much by Jey Uso to get the big win. Overall, the match, definitely, I was saying, did not feel like a WrestleMania main event. It was better than some of their matches, but not the best that I've seen, I would say, out of Gunther's matches. But overall, I do respect Jey Uso trying some new moves, and I really enjoyed the story because that was the whole idea. Gunther constantly telling Jey Uso that he's a clown, he's a goof, coming out doing the dancing and yimple, like the yeeting, right? What did he say? Simple gestures for simple people. And the irony of it all in the story is that Gunther taps out for the first time on the main roster to Jey Uso. Jey Uso basically out-wrestled Gunther. I really like that. Overall, I don't think I'm really clamoring to see these two wrestle again. We've had it 4 times, but this match gave the desired outcome. And it didn't feel like a waste of time, because how many times, and I mentioned this going back to the Royal Rumble 2025 review, how many times during Vince McMahon's later era did we see someone like Jey Uso, whether it been a guy or a gal, who got really hot with the audience, they're selling merch, they're pushing the audience, they're selling tickets, they're showing all the signs there that tell you the people want this person as their guy, as their girl, and Vince McMahon, for whatever reason, did not push them. Well, here in Triple H's era of booking, we are seeing that. Jey Uso, he has steadily gotten huge reactions from the audience. He has gotten a huge amount of merchandise sold. Like I said, when I went to the Royal Rumble out there in Indianapolis, there was Jey Uso merch everywhere. There was people yeeting here and people yeeting there, everywhere. And it's clear that the audience, at least the paying audience, I would say, that's coming out in attendance, they paid for Jey Uso here to see him, and it was a huge moment. And as someone who's been following Jey Uso's career since him and Jimmy, along with Tamina, debuted back in 2010, so 15 years now, it's so great to see Jey Uso win the championship. That is just fantastic. I'm all glad for it, and I'm very proud to see Jey Uso. You got to know Rikishi's a proud papa. Jey Uso truly has come a long way. All right, before we get to our next match, I'm going to take a little break of water here. All right, so the next match was for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. The War Raiders, consisting of Ivar and Eric, versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. So in all honesty, I thought the heel turn for the New Day was tremendous stuff. But then for the next several months, for whatever reason, Triple H and his booking crew, they didn't do much with the New Day. They were putting them with promos, but they just really weren't, I feel like, capitalizing off of it. And I thought there was a better build-up with the tag team on the SmackDown division side of things, because at least they were taking all these different tag teams and they were building them up. And I'm like, this is good. This is probably heading towards a major match at WrestleMania for a multi-man match, and that makes sense because it's been building up. But instead, we're getting a TLC match on the next SmackDown after WrestleMania, and instead, it kind of felt like, wasn't like the last 2 weeks or something, this match came together. So yeah, there just wasn't a lot of build up, and I like both of these teams. I love both of these teams, War Raiders, the New Day. But I think you felt it in this match because the crowd heat for this match sound very low. And I did text the man 0001 who was there in attendance, and he was like, it's okay. Which, for coming from somebody who was actually there in person, yeah, that's the way it came across on TV. The audience was not loud, and I just think that this goes back to the importance is that a little bit of story goes a long way. Had Triple H and his booking crew went ahead and decided to build up the New Day and the War Raiders and create a big story with them heading in, several weeks into WrestleMania, I think this match could have had a lot more crowd heat with it. But overall, I thought these guys, they went out there and they put on, I thought, which was a decent match. What was it? I think it was Eric. He was trying to get the audience really much into it. He did some impressive stuff. But in the end, the New Day ends up getting the victory. I think they prevented the War Raiders from hitting their finishing move, and then Xavier, he gets the pin on, was it Ivar, I think, because Kofi Kingston's holding his feet down, and then 1, 2, 3. So decent match, but I kind of, and I put it here in my notes, decent TV level match, but not a WrestleMania level match, which was one of my complaints about last year's WrestleMania when it came to, I think it was Andrade and Rey Mysterio versus it was versus who was it? I forget the match. It was a tag team match he was in with his son Dominic and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Escobar, yeah. Santos Escobar. Yeah, I thought that was a decent match, but not a WrestleMania level match. And yeah, this kind of didn't feel like it, and it was just really hard for the audience to get invested. But hey, I'm glad these guys got a huge spotlight in the New Day. They're a 12-time world champion, tag team champion, and you definitely need to put the tag team championships on the New Day to really justify the heel turn. And I think you build it up really good, let them get a lot of heat, build up some interesting storylines. This is a perfect opportunity to take a new upcoming tag team or rebuild a current tag team on the roster and use them as the good guys for us to want to see the bad guys in the New Day get overcome and everything. But I will say it's very telling the fact that Big E did not come out on this, because I'm thinking, okay, if they're putting this on WrestleMania, then that means that maybe we're getting a big moment like Xavier Wood, Big E coming out and gonna lay the New Day out or something and help the War Raiders win. But so who knows if we'll ever see Big E in the ring. But you know what? More importantly is Big E's health. And as long as Big E is healthy, by all means, that is the most important thing. Now, I did put in my notes, though, that I do have to give praise to Kofi Kingston's very much shades of when he first won the tag team titles, the New Day, with a hilarious celebration when they won the titles. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston had this big old smile on his face. He's like, when they had the titles, and that boy was gone, because that is a long rap at WrestleMania that they used, and Kofi Kingston went ahead and ran right up that ramp, man, and he wasn't even tired either. So just contesting it to the condition. So yeah, I just wish this match had more story going into it to just make it feel like a bigger deal. All right, so we get to our next match. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Oh man, now this was actually, I would say there are 4 matches that I've been looking forward to the most. Both triple threat matches with the women and the men, the main event for night 2, and this one right here. These were like my top 4 most matches I was looking forward to, and you know, me being such a story guy, this one absolutely had a fantastic story, absolute build up, great story build up, and man, these 2 ladies went out there and did their thing. So many great moments. Naomi, she had hit an X Factor on the outside of the ring to Jade Cargill when her feet was hanging from the apron. That was really awesome. At one point in the match, Naomi jumps off the top rope and Jade Cargill catches her in mid-air and turns it into a jackhammer. That got me out of my seat. Like, oh, I'm like, that was pretty sick. And she did it so smooth too. Just, man, fantastic. Really smoothly well done. And then at one point, there's another point where Naomi jumps off of the apron again, and only to land on top of Jade, where she ends up catching her and turning it into a fallaway slam. So I thought that was really, really impressive. There's a cool moment on the top row where Naomi turns it into a bulldog from the very top when Jade Cargill was trying to pick up Naomi and everything. So that was really cool. Now in the end, Jade lifts Naomi up in the sitting position on her shoulders. So Naomi is sort of sitting on Jade Cargill's shoulders, and then from there she kind of like swings Naomi around in midair and manages to turn around to face her stomach wise so she can catch her, and turns it into a power bomb, all this in midair, and she picks up the win. 1, 2, 3. I put in my notes, the absolute timing. The timing on that was fantastic, that Jade Cargill was able to do that, make it look fantastic, make it look flashy, and do it soon enough and easy enough to make sure that, or I should say safely enough to make sure that Naomi didn't get hurt. This couldn't have come off any better. It is amazing. Jade Cargill has come so far in compared to what she was in AEW, and I'm a fan of her AEW work, but I just think coming to WWE, she's gotten only that much better. And Naomi has always been great. I've been ride or die fan of Naomi since she first came to NXT in 2010. It's crazy. 15 years Naomi's been around, but yeah, this was fantastic. I thought this was like pretty much the first match that kind of like really made me feel like, wow, this was awesome. Like this is good. Definitely Naomi's best, or it's got to be probably one of Naomi's best matches, but certainly Jade Cargill's best match in WWE to date, and I can't wait to seeing her further develop in WWE. This was the first ever, I believe, singles women's match that had no gimmick to it. So yeah, it's great. And I should mention that Naomi got a new entrance, and honestly, Def Rebel, they thought they knocked it out of the park on this. This was so good, and I just really love how much Naomi has gone ahead and reinvented herself. I love the tribute that she's doing to Owen Hart with the caution signs back when Owen Hart was back in '98 doing the whole enough is enough and it's time for a change gimmick and everything. So that's really cool. Just showing you that Naomi's a student of the game and everything, giving an all-time legend to Owen Hart. Rest in peace. So yeah, overall that was absolutely fantastic. So definitely this match I thought not only lived up to expectation, it exceeded expectations. I was hoping for a really good match, and honestly I left with an even better match than I could have even hoped for when it came to Naomi versus Jade Cargill. All right, so our next match was for the WWE United States Championship. LA Knight, yeah, defending the title against Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf. Yeah, audience was really hot for both these guys, Jacob and LA Knight, so that was really cool. It's cool to see LA Knight getting featured once again on the WrestleMania card when 2 years ago he was left off, so he's gotten 2 back-to-back matches. So overall, yeah, this match was good. I have here in my notes, basically Jacob Fatu was using a lot of his power to overwhelm LA Knight even no-selling one of his moves at one point where LA Knight got him down and LA Knight's looking like, no way. And Jacob Fatu's just looking intense, like, man, like just looking like a total freaking beast. And then Jacob Fatu, he's using a lot of, he's just basically showing this ridiculous amount of athleticism that he's able to do, popping up LA Knight right into the air for a Samoan drop. At one point, Jacob Fatu is trying to go for a moonsault by climbing to the top rope, but LA Knight from his feet leaps onto the top ropes to deliver a German suplex that flips Jacob completely onto his stomach. That got the audience wow. I was like, oh man. So it was really cool to see these guys were really breaking out, like I felt like all the stops here to really put on a WrestleMania worthy match. And then from there, there's a point where at the point the fans are just chanting both of them, LA Knight, Fatu, LA Knight, Fatu. So I mean, just how popular these guys are. And then Jacob Fatu, he does a moonsault, and this was probably one of the sickest parts of the whole match. Jacob Fatu, he does a moonsault, and in midair, LA Knight is able to counter it with the BFT. The audience came unglued. It looked so smooth, so good. I was like, wow, I did not see that coming, because if you think about it too, and this is why it shows you things matter, because Jacob Fatu rarely is countered by his moonsault, but this is the one time it did, and it's fantastic because it really made LA Knight look like he was on a whole other level than what other Jacob Fatu's opponents were, because he did his homework, he did his game, he studied it and everything. So that was really cool. I really love that aspect of the fighting of the match. And then in the end, Jacob Fatu, he kicks LA Knight in the ankle, causing LA Knight to land on the top rope. From there, Jacob jumps up to the top rope and turns himself into midair to land back first to LA Knight's back, followed by going up for another moonsault from the top rope to LA Knight in the middle of the canvas to score the 1-2-3 victory. And he started spamming those moonsaults. And yeah, LA Knight's then greeted by the all-time legend Haku to celebrate him winning the WWE United States Championship. Excellent match between these two. One of the best LA Knight matches I think we've ever seen in WWE, and certainly Jacob Fatu's best match to date. Fantastic. I thought these guys, they delivered. It was a heck of a match. Both guys wanting to make the most of their WrestleMania moment, and I think they absolutely did it. This is a great debut for Jacob Fatu. To think that before WrestleMania last year, he was the guy in the audience, hoping to get that opportunity, and 1 year later, he is made the most of that opportunity. He's the one in the ring, and I thought that was fantastic. Absolutely just fantastic. So definitely much props up to LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. All right, so next up was Fenix versus El Grande Americano. All right, so yeah, Fenix versus El Grande Americano, who we obviously know is Chad Gable, but I love this whole gimmick. This is absolutely hilarious. It is really old school wrestling and everything. I think Chad Gable's doing a great job portraying the delusional American that thinks he is of the lucha culture and that he knows everything. Even the video package they had, they broke out. I told my friends, like, yo, they broke out the old Kai and Tai voiceover gimmick. If you all remember Kai and Tai, Takamichinoku and Funaki, when they would come out, they would do the whole "indeed" and "we are evil," which I guess I heard was maybe Shane McMahon. If not, it was someone back there doing the voiceovers. It was their way, it didn't age really well nowadays, but it was their way of basically trying to make fun of stereotypes about dubs back in the 1970s for a lot of kung fu movies where the mouth movements weren't matching the voice. This one looked like it did a better job of nearly matching it, but you could tell with someone doing the voiceover as if it wasn't Chad Gable, basically, to make it not sound like him. I thought this was funny. The entrance was hilarious, making it look like really old school, so definitely making the most of this. So Rey Mysterio was legitimately hurt the previous night on SmackDown, which actually reminds me of something Jon Moxley said about what he was afraid of happening. This is shortly after he left WWE to AEW. It may have been on Chris Jericho's podcast, I don't remember. correct me in the comments or in the live chat if I'm wrong, but I know the biggest thing that John Moxley was concerning was he was saying, why have these guys and gals go out there and risk themselves just days before WrestleMania? And that's what ended up happening. Rey Mysterio got injured, so hopefully Rey gets well soon. So he's replaced with Rey Fenix, who obviously is fresh from AEW. So huge opportunity for Rey Fenix to actually go out there on the biggest stage, WrestleMania. So I was happy for him in that sense. We had Vikingo, who I think I remember in AEW, and so maybe he is coming to WWE soon, it looks like. And so he ends up kicking El Grande Americano right in the face, and then from there El Grande, he ends up getting into the ring, but when the match starts, he tosses the crap out of Rey Fenix almost halfway across the ring turnbuckle with the belly-to-belly suplex, and then he goes for what I thought was a moonsault at first, but then in midair, he does another flip, so it's basically a 540 splash, the commentators were calling it. Sick. Like, it made me go like, oh man, it was fantastic. Rey Fenix, he eventually jumps off the top rope, kicking El Grande Americano in the face, and the momentum actually sends Rey Fenix flying to the other side of the ring. It was like, dang, he put his all into that kick, and when he lands, he's selling the foot. And what ended up happening, basically, and I love this part of the gimmick that he does as well, basically Chad takes a metal plate and sticks it in his mask towards the forehead so that the referee doesn't see it. And that's basically what the story was, and I was cracking up, is that Rey Fenix, he kicked him so hard in the foot that it ended up messing his foot because he's basically kicking metal. And from there, El Grande Americano does a headbutt to Rey Fenix, and then does the flying headbutt off the top rope with the metal plate in the mask to win. And there you go. Chad Gable, unfortunately, not getting his, at least visually, without the mask. Chad Gable without a mask, not getting a WrestleMania moment, but El Grande Americano did. I love it. I thought it was hilarious. Rey Fenix actually does lose, because I'm assuming Rey Mysterio was the one who was designed to probably lose, but unfortunately it looks like they had to have Rey take the pinfall, but I'm pretty sure he's happy, or Phoenix, that is, Rey Fenix. I'm pretty sure he's happy to at least have gotten a WrestleMania moment. And so overall, I thought the match was funny. It definitely brought the entertainment value, I think, of WrestleMania. So each match on this card felt different, and that's something I do appreciate. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about this. It was a fun match. Now, something that shout out to my boy Aaron Riff on NoDQ.com. He suggested he think it'd be great if Sami Zayn returns as El Generico, and he ends up taking on Chad Gable as El Grande Americano. Like, that would actually be pretty funny. That would be great. I think I would love to see that. That would be absolutely. But yeah, this gimmick is hilarious, and hey, I'm glad Rey Fenix went from not being utilized on AEW television to a featured match at WrestleMania 41. So that was awesome. And then from there, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, who had to be absolutely tired if you watch the WWE Hall of Fame, because out here in the Central Time Zone, he went on to almost 3 a.m. and then he had to get back up, which would have been 1 a.m. his time out there in Las Vegas. Had to be up by 5 a.m. to run the whole NXT show, and then he's still there for WrestleMania. So as you can see there in the screenshot, he kind of spoiled what he was out there for. But yeah, basically, he's there to announce the attendance was sold out of 61,467 there in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, announced for WrestleMania 41. It looked packed. Whether they sold out or not, I mean, I guess you can go to Ticketmaster to see if there was tickets left, but hey, I ain't gonna argue with them. The place looked absolutely stacked in terms of the audience there. So WWE still being able to draw even with the high ticket price sales. So that was really great to see, and everything, just how much WWE can bring people around the world together for WrestleMania. All right, so next up we had what was probably, you could say, the co-main event of the evening for the WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. All right, so the entrances right off the bat. Tiffany Stratton comes out in a very much Barbie doll inspired entrance. It was pretty cool, and the audience, you could hear the loud cheers. They were very much for Tiffany Stratton in this match. And then you get Charlotte Flair, and she comes out in what I had to think was a really cool robe, pink and blue robe. Ironically, both her and Tiffany Stratton are wearing blue and pink in the match, and the stadium sounds basically that they are very much it sounds like they are very much for the that they were very much for Tiffany Stratton, because man, they were absolutely booing Charlotte Flair through this match. And for the most part, when we get to the bell ringing, they started just going ham fighting. Like, it was not very elegant looking. They were saying, oh, this is gonna be ugly, and they wanted to play off, you know, them using real life shots fired in their promos. So it was pretty much a brawl in the first part of the match. But as you get into the middle part of the match, basically Charlotte Flair, she gets the upper hand, and the audience is very audible about booing her and chanting Charlotte sucks. So you definitely hear that, even though they were quiet. At least it sounds quiet during certain parts of this match. And so from there, for the most of the middle, yeah, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany does make slight comebacks in the middle of the match, but keeps getting taken down by Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte looks to be getting visibly frustrated at not being able to put Tiffany away, which was a common thing, running theme throughout the match. And she's just cursing at her at one point, you know, dropping B-bombs at her and continuing the chop. And Tiffany, she does lay a couple of nice spine busters in on Charlotte Flair during this portion of the match, but then Charlotte Flair would keep kind of just taking back over the match and controlling it. It was kind of a slower paced match than usually what you see, I would say, out of these two, and everything, but it kept going, but they kept it going. That's what I will say. It kept it going, and I'm not saying that was bad. I think that's one of the things that might hold this match back from previous matches we've seen them with both of the other ones in. At one point, it looked like this match was going to turn the tide when Charlotte is pushed off the rope, landing on her feet, as it seemed like Tiffany was going to end for the kill on Charlotte, surgically repaired leg. And I'm thinking, like, okay, she's going to be a shark in the water and everything. But this is short-lived, only because Charlotte then starts working on Tiffany's leg, and I think for the rest of the match, Charlotte didn't really sell the leg until Tiffany went back to it. So they did this moment like it was going to be a big part of the story, and like, okay, now how can Charlotte try and overcome Tiffany with his leg? But like I said, it really wasn't much going on. It's like the story was just dropped, like she must have just shook it off or something and the leg was good again. So yeah, they kind of like they were teasing something for the match, but then it didn't go. And then from there, the audience was at this point kind of sounding really quiet for most of the part of the match, at least on TV. Once again, if it was different there, if you attended the show live, please let me know in the comments section if you're watching this on demand or in the comments in live chat. And it became more audible though when Charlotte locks in the figure eight, because that's when people are going like, oh boy, is this gonna be it? Are they gonna make her tap out? You know, getting shades of WrestleMania 34 when WrestleMania 34 when Asuka tapped out, and there goes the streak. So from there, Tiffany's able to battle it out by attacking Charlotte's knee, as I was mentioning earlier. From there, we get our first big near fall when Tiffany lands the prettiest moonsault ever, only to get countered by landing. Oh, I guess she didn't technically landed, right? She got countered by Charlotte Flair's knees, and Charlotte goes for the inside cradle to Tiffany, 1, 2, and Tiffany kicks out. And at that point, everybody was like, oh, you know, because like I said, this audience, they definitely wanted to see Tiffany Stratton win the match. Charlotte Flair, she lands a natural selection jumping from the top rope, but it gets only a near fall, so that was a really cool match. As we get to the end of the match, Charlotte Flair, she gets irate, and she's grabbing to Tiffany by the head, yelling to no one will replace me. And usually when they do things like this in matches, it's a really tell sign, and especially when the match has been going on a long time, it's a tell sign that the person getting that frustrated is probably going to lose. Think about John Cena getting super overconfident, doing the whole people's elbow against The Rock only to catch The Rock bottom. Or think about even more recently, Jade, Rhea Ripley basically nearly putting Io Sky away just to trash talk Bianca, like, I'll see you at WrestleMania, and then boom, Io Sky picked the win. So this is when I'm like, oh snap, I think my pick might win here. My pick might win. So as the match goes on from there, Tiffany fights back, and she eventually is able to get Charlotte Flair with the Alabama Slammer into the corner of the turnbuckle, and she then hits the prettiest moonsault ever for the 1, 2, 3 to successfully retain the WWE Championship, Women's Championship. And man, I got out of my seat and I was like, yes, yes, man. I thought Charlotte was gonna win. I honestly thought she was gonna win. And even in the no DQ predictions lead, I messaged them in the group chat saying that, yeah, I mean, Charlotte's probably gonna win, but that's what my mind was telling me. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go with what my heart tells me, and my heart tells me that in reality, here in 2025, go with the upstart 25-year-old who can use someone like the star power of Charlotte Flair, what she's accomplished, as she can use the win a lot more. And that's what they did here. And I'm glad to see Triple H go with the absolute right decision. I mean, think about all the time over the years when we thought Charlotte Flair should have probably lost, like Asuka. Like, why kill the momentum of Asuka's winning streak when you can tell a big story? Even especially, like I said, at the time, Ronda Rousey was there. You could have maybe had Ronda in the streak after 1 year building Ronda up as a monster and continuing to build Asuka as a monster, but they squandered all of that. And thankfully, Asuka made a huge comeback for her career. She's had an amazing career. Think about there was times when like Rhea Ripley lost to Charlotte, and thankfully Rhea made the comeback. And that's the thing about it. I don't think it would have been it for for Tiffany if she lost. That definitely she could have made that comeback, but I'm glad that they're doing what Aaron Riff often says on his channel, NoDQ.com, strike while the iron is hot. This is absolutely the right decision. This does not hurt Charlotte Flair, and I think that's what a lot of people have said over the years, is that it does not hurt Charlotte Flair to get a loss like this. This is the right move, establishing Tiffany Stratton. So they did the opposite of what they did with Rhea Ripley, because I think Rhea Ripley was 25 at the time, lost to Charlotte Flair, and then came back 3 years later and got the win. No, they're going to wait. So now it's going to be nice to see that maybe by the time Tiffany gets the age that Rhea Ripley was when she finally did get the big clean win over Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39 2 years ago, is that now Tiffany can be a lot more further. We don't have to utilize the next 2 to 3 years, or see WWE utilize the next 2 to 3 years to build up Tiffany Stratton. Now they can just use this momentum, because obviously you hear the audience, the fans love Tiffany Stratton, and you can build her up as one of the future big stars of the women's division. So I thought it was great. I thought Tiffany going over great. The match overall, the match was solid. I think it was solid. I didn't like it as much as the Rhea match that Charlotte had 2 years ago, but overall, it was a solid enough good match that I thought, hey, both women worked as best they could and everything, but it did the absolute right outcome, and this is what I'd like to see more of. And I'm glad that Triple H is delivering stuff like this. Sees that, okay, Charlotte Flair is established, and now we can use her establishment to help build up upcoming young talent like Tiffany Stratton. So absolutely the right move. Overall, though, I do think it was definitely one of the better matches on this show. So yeah, definitely not a bad match at all. Not a bad match at all. Good, really good from both of these two women. All right, so next they brought out the WWE Hall of Famers of 2025, which I actually did enjoy. The show. It was long, and personally, I think WWE should really, instead of cramming 4 matches or 4 events into 24 hours, they should spread them out. Maybe Wednesday, the Hall of Fame. Thursday can be NXT Stand and Deliver. Friday, the SmackDown Go Home Edition for WrestleMania, and then Saturday, WrestleMania Night 1, Sunday, WrestleMania Night 2, and then Monday, the Raw after. Instead, they're cramming 4 events into one show, and like, yeah, there are people clowning on some of the talent for falling asleep, but I mean, hey, they got to get their rest. They got a big show to do and everything. So yeah, but overall, it was great to see all these legends come out and get their just dues and everything. Also, I'm always gonna pop versus my all-time favorite. You see the shirt there, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So yeah, it was always great to see him, and great to see Triple H, someone who I grew up and seeing around that whole time as well. So just really great. I enjoyed the Hall of Fame, by the way, though. Everybody really gave some good speeches. Michelle McCool, very inspiring speech. Triple H, awesome speech as well. Stone Cold, always entertaining. Great to see Bret Hart. Everything, man. Just really great to see all the talents and everything. And now we get to the main event of night 1. CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. All right, so just right off the bat, the entrances were absolutely on point. Seth Rollins, he comes out in what had to be a very inspired WrestleMania 25 entrance from Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. So in it, Seth Rollins comes out first in black, and then the lights go out. And the lights come back on, and now he's dressed in all white. So that was really cool. And then we got the Roman Reigns coming out basically in phenomenal shape. Comes out with white gloves, white boots. He's also making history, as this is his 10th time main eventing WrestleMania. Of course, he main evented more WrestleManias than anyone else in history last year by getting his 9th one, but now 10, just far more established there. So technically, I guess you could nearly say that Roman Reigns has main evented nearly 1/4, pretty much 1/4 of WrestleMania main events. And when you think about it, there's been 41, and he's main evented 10 out of the 41 WrestleMania. So that's really cool there. And during the entrance, they had these really cool images on these LED boards that were hanging above, showcasing all the greats of the Anoa'i Samoan lineage, which, hey, was a good night for them for sure, until we get to the ending main event here, that is. So yeah, from there, a pre-entrance video promo plays showcasing CM Punk's road to finally main eventing WrestleMania to his old WWE theme song, This Fire Still Burns by Kill Switch Engage. Man, that was awesome. I popped loudly for that, because yeah, that's around the time I first started following CM Punk's career. So I mean, I've been following him since I was a teenager and everything. I could just really relate to him because myself, I'm straight edge. So when CM Punk came out on being straight edge and he doesn't smoke, drink, or do drugs, I'm like, oh, I can identify with this guy, and I'm still him to this day, and everything. And I've been my whole life, honestly. So that was really cool. And then from there, we get Living Color. They're live in person singing CM Punk to the ring for WrestleMania, which was really awesome because check it out. During CM Punk's last WrestleMania match back at WrestleMania, I think it was 29 in 2013, that was CM Punk's last WrestleMania match, and Living Color singed him to the ring. And now here in his most recent WrestleMania matches of this live stream in 2025, Living Color back to do the same thing for his next WrestleMania match 12 years later. So I thought that was awesome. Really great to see the legendary Living Color. And CM Punk also comes out in a gray hoodie, just like he did back in that 2012/2013 period that Paul Heyman was managing him. So that was really awesome. So the match starts off with CM Punk exiting the ring and Seth Rollins trying to manipulate Roman's mind about how Punk shouldn't be in this match, which is really weird in the beginning. Like CM Punk, like, have you ever seen anybody so irritated and upset to be main eventing in WrestleMania? He doesn't deserve to be here, is what Seth Rollins kept saying in the early portion of the build up, and I'm like, you're main eventing WrestleMania. It doesn't matter, right? So that was an interesting decision they made in that story that I didn't quite get. But I guess they're trying to say that's how upset Seth Rollins is with CM Punk, is that he's neglecting the whole idea that, hey, you're main eventing WrestleMania. You know, it's like someone gives you $5 million, you inherited $5 million, and someone else inherits $5 million, and you're like, whoa, he doesn't deserve $5 million, but you got $5 million, especially if the other $5 million was never meant for you. So if you weren't going to get $10 million regardless, be happy with your $5 million, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I thought it was. But as far as the match though, starts off really hilarious when Roman basically smacks Seth Rollins down to the canvas, and then the three battle it out, and it eventually pours into the audience where CM Punk gets hit in the back of the head with a trash can. I'm surprised they're doing spots like that to the head, but then it comes back to Seth Rollins. Then he comes back to Seth Rollins with a suplex on that same very trash can on the concrete. So if you grew up an Attitude Era fan like me, then you knew this type of stuff right here was just commonplace. eventually you see CM Punk and Seth Rollins, they're battling closer to the ringside area, which then leaves Roman Reigns to do this amazing running leapfrog all over the barricade. He does his leapfrog over the barricade, taking out both CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and they showed it in slow motion. Looked like a something out of a superhero movie, man. Like, he came in like a superhero flying. That was really awesome. And that was getting the audience. And I will say this, the audience definitely felt alive for this entire match, as I kind of knew it. Yeah, it was hard to tell who would be the heel because everybody, they just loved him. They were always singing Seth Rollins' song, singing Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, right? That's taken from the international audience, and it's poured over here into the American audience. And then, there was always the CM Punk. So yeah, the audience was just taking turns, cheering for these all three of these guys. And so eventually, from there in the action, it finally gets back into the ring, and CM Punk, he tries to go for a running knee to Roman Reigns, but Roman catches him and turns it into a Samoan drop, and Seth Rollins then jumps off the top of the ring ropes, only then landing right into a smack from Roman Reigns. So Roman taking both these guys out basically. So Samoan drop to CM Punk, and then a smack to Seth Rollins, who tried to sneak attack, but to no avail. And then from there, CM Punk, he eventually gets some momentum in the match by delivering back-to-back multiple knees to the corners of Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and then he lands a backdrop in DDT at the same time to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And Seth Rollins particularly, he sold the crap out of this, man. It was just, have you guys ever seen the one where Shawn Michaels is selling and he completely goes on his head and flips over to his back, but someone takes the screenshot where like he's just standing on his head? It's crazy. So crazy sell job by Seth Rollins. We get a really cool Doomsday Device tribute to the Legion of Doom when Roman gets Seth Rollins on his shoulders to try and stop him from attacking CM Punk, because he's trying to take advantage of Seth Rollins in this moment, and CM Punk takes the opportunity, does the clothesline. So yeah, it turns it into a Doomsday Device. And then from there, CM Punk, he eventually gets a Uranagi and the Anaconda Vice on Roman Reigns, which is interrupted by Seth Rollins doing a frog splash to score a near fall. So there was just so much crazy back and forth sequences in this match that I thought was really awesome. Roman Reigns, during these moments, Paul Heyman's facial expressions are absolutely on point during this sequence, and pretty much during the entire match. And then there's an excellent sequence that calls back, man. So let me get a sip of water for this one. Alright, so there is an excellent sequence that calls back to Roman and Seth Rollins' previous matches over the years, where Roman goes for the spear, but Seth Rollins jumps up to counter it into a pedigree. He does the curb stomp to Roman Reigns, and then and then from there, he kicks CM Punk out of the ring and goes for the pinfall, only to get a near fall. And Wade Barrett on commentary was absolutely brilliant here, because he talked about how, if you look at it, the fact that Roman kicked out barely at 3 means had maybe Seth Rollins not kicked CM Punk out of the ring, he maybe would have gotten that extra second he needed. So that was really awesome to see. Just really great attention to detail. I love when they have those attentions to detail and stuff. From there, we get another awesome sequence where CM Punk dodges he dodges out of the way to let Roman Reigns spear Seth Rollins, and then he nails a GTS to Roman Reigns to get another near fall. Seth Rollins even didn't land a pedigree. He then lands a pedigree, I think. He then lands another pedigree for another near fall. So the near falls were going crazy. Audience was totally invested in this. I was on the edge of my seat as well, because really, when you think about it, all three of these guys were established. Anyone could win, honestly. But there's not like, hey, these guys need to really win this match to be further established. They've made their place in history. CM Punk, he just wanted to main event WrestleMania, so it could be anyone's game as I was watching this match. And so from there, we get another awesome sequence where Yeah, so from there it was Seth Rollins. He starts talking to Roman. Yeah, Seth Rollins starts talking to Roman Reigns about how he's alone without Paul Heyman, without the Bloodline, without even Jon Moxley. So yes, we got a Jon Moxley reference on WWE programming, and then he tells Roman that they both need to work together to take out CM Punk. And this is where the story aspect of the match was really going to it. The story aspect of the match was fantastic because you knew you had three of the best storytellers in the ring going at it here. So Roman Reigns, he basically teases that he is going to let Seth Rollins know that we're going for the old Shield bomb. So he tells him, he just starts hyping over. He's like, get him up, get him up, get him up. But instead, Roman, he smacks Seth Rollins to the ground, and he power bombs both men individually through the two announce tables that are out there. Fantastic stuff. And Roman Reigns, like, he's gonna do it all on his own. And what happens from that moment is that I legitimately thought the match was gonna end here. Roman throws Seth Rollins into the ring, hits him with the spear, only to get the 1, 2.5 count. I was like, oh man, I'm like, okay, they had me there. That was a great near fall, and once again, it had me even further on the edge of my seat, to the point where, oh snap, I gotta watch myself so I don't fall out the chair. So the audience was very much invested into this. From here, we get some more great storytelling moments as Roman Reigns, he trash talks about the favor, puts CM Punk in the guillotine, only for CM Punk to counter into the Anaconda Vice, which then is broken up by Seth Rollins, who then puts the sharpshooter and flips CM Punk off. They blacked it out, but he puts the sharpshooter off, sort of his nod to Stone Cold, I guess, and Bret Hart, since they went into the Hall of Fame for that match. Only for Roman Reigns to break it up and puts himself, from here, he gets put into the Anaconda Vice by Seth Rollins. By CM Punk, which then you see him get pumped up for the curb. Yeah, you see him get hit with the curb stomp by Seth Rollins to score once again another near fall. Apologize for my notes. I do voice to texting while I'm watching the matches and everything, so some of these words are not coming out right. Yikes. But I believe it happened for the most part like this. Definitely check it out though, with your own eyes in this whole match, because this match is definitely worth going back seeing it. It was a crazy sequence. Eventually all three men are knocked down after seeing CM Punk. He hits several CM Punk hits the GTS, and then Roman hits the spear. Yeah, so the way the sequence goes, CM Punk, he hits the GTS to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns hits the spear, I think, and then Seth Rollins goes to the ground, but before Seth Rollins can go to the ground, he does the curb stop to Roman Reigns. Then all three men are eventually down. So that's the way it was. Roman got hit with the GTS, and then from there, he hit Seth Rollins with Seth Rollins got hit with the GTS. Roman hit CM Punk with the spear, and then as Roman was on the ground to try and go for the pin, Seth Rollins came back with the curb stomp. I'm getting it all mixed up. It was just a lot to keep track of in notes here and everything, but there were some crazy sequences. After this, Paul Heyman grabs a steel chair, and this is where the audience goes like, oh, because we know we're about to see something going down here. All right, so from here, we get CM Punk and Roman Reigns looking at Paul Heyman, and he's got the steel chair, and he's contemplating what to do. And eventually, he gives the chair over to CM Punk. And from there, when CM Punk gets that chair and is about to go ahead and hit Roman with it, you see Paul Heyman bend down, and he gives CM Punk the low blow, and the audience is like, oh. And from there, man, as CM Punk is on the ground holding his balls after Paul Heyman has turned on him again, because he turned him on him before, I think back in like 2013 to join Brock when Brock came back. Roman Reigns is smiling, and CM, and from there, Paul Paul Heyman, he gets on the ground, on his knee. He kneels down in front of Roman Reigns, said, "You are my tribal chief," and hands the steel chair over to Roman. Roman then just starts going ham with the steel chair on CM Punk, just wearing him out. And then Paul Heyman points over to Seth Rollins, who's getting back up, crawling just like last year to the ropes to help himself up, and he starts yelling. He's like, "You go ahead." He says, "Now's your chance. Get your revenge." He just starts pointing at him. "Get your revenge on him. Get your revenge on Seth Rollins." And I'm thinking here, I'm like, no, that cost you last year, Roman. I'm thinking of Cher as a fan. I'm like, yeah, that cost you last year, Roman. So you knew something was up here. And so just as Roman's about to go ahead for that shot in the back again, you end up getting Paul Heyman, who now kneels down and gives a low blow to Roman Reigns, turning on him again, because I think he turned on him again during the Brock Lesnar feud, and then he went back to Roman Reigns for good until now. And the audience is like, "Oh," and then from there, Paul Heyman, he smiles, because before, when he was going after CM Punk, he was crying and making like, "Oh, look what you made me do. You made me turn on my tribal chief." And then Roman Reigns, from there, he gets more smug and he's like, And Seth Rollins is then smiling, and he hands the chair over to Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins then takes the chair and bam, hits Roman Reigns right in the back of the chair, just like back in 2014, when he ended up, selling out to the Authority. And it's from here that Seth Rollins is able to get the 1, 2, 3 and win the main event of WrestleMania 41 Night 1. And from here, the audience was cheering. They were singing Seth Rollins' song, and they were going crazy for this. So they did not react. The audience didn't react like this was a heel turn for Seth Rollins, but the commentators, they were going ham on the commentary. They were losing their minds, talking about how you're a no good SOB. How could you do that to your best friend Roman and CM Punk and everything? But when you look at the story, I mean, when Roman Reigns, where was he? Where was Roman Reigns when he was getting tortured by Solo Sikoa and the new bloodline last year? Roman took a long time to come back, and he wouldn't answer any of Paul Heyman's text messages. And even then, when Seth Rollins was threatening Paul Heyman, why did it take CM Punk so long to come out there? So it looks like definitely Seth Rollins probably got back into Paul Heyman's head. I at the last minute changed my prediction to Roman Reigns, thinking I guess they're going to give Roman Reigns a big win to have him get a win back from last year, but I should have stuck with my original pick, Seth Rollins. It's just the problem with that in the story is I felt like Triple H and the booking and his booking team, they were making the creative for this. They were making it look too obvious. Like it looked like, okay, if you look at this, he's not going to go with CM Punk, he's not going to go with Roman Reigns, he's going to join Seth Rollins, but they kept making it look so obvious, and I'm like, no way they're going to go with it. But they did. They went with the very predictable and obvious route. And you know what? Predictability, ladies and gentlemen, is not always a bad thing. So it works. The story absolutely works. And I'm guessing, Roman Reigns, we probably won't see him again until SummerSlam, and CM Punk is still going to be featured in big matches, and him and Seth Rollins feud is probably not over, obviously. And so we get there, and there you have it. Seth Rollins, he is now going to be aligned with Paul Heyman, meaning Paul Heyman will probably now be full-time on the main roster there. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm assuming that maybe eventually we'll see him and Braun Breaker maybe end up as a union or something like that. But yeah, the show ends with Seth Rollins leaving with Paul Heyman smirking, and Roman Reigns and CM Punk, as they go into like the post-show, they just look absolutely dejected. Absolutely dejected. Roman Reigns, he's lost his wise man. CM Punk looks absolutely dejected. He lost his best friend. As Roman goes up the ramp, they play his music. As CM Punk goes up the ramp, they play his music. But in reality, I kind of figured CM Punk wasn't going to win this match, because CM Punk has already really accomplished mostly everything there is to do in WWE. Main eventing WrestleMania was the big thing that he wanted to do, and he finally got that. So really, there's no harm. Seth Rollins winning this, Roman Reigns losing, and CM Punk losing, they don't really lose anything. They're still going to be very popular superstars. It's just with Seth Rollins, I figured like, and this is one of the things, is like, what was the purpose of this match? And I think that's for a lot of people that they're wondering, like, what was the purpose of the match? It would have been nice had they made some sort of stipulation, number one contenders match for the world title, because they said they were using a lot of buzzwords to describe that this was going to be the most important match in WrestleMania history, or in WWE history, actually, right there. Yeah, there you guys see it. Paul Heyman turned on Seth Rollins. It was going to be the most important match in WWE history, and when we look at it, yeah, like what Roman's gonna leave and come back again. CM Punk's gonna still be featured. Seth Rollins gonna be there full time. So it's like, yeah, I'm not sure how much it really changes there. In reality, obviously, I believe Triple H, and rightfully so, he wanted to make sure Roman Reigns gets his 10th WrestleMania main event to even things out. Wanted to make sure CM Punk finally got his match at his main event at WrestleMania, and then in addition to that, I think he wanted to make sure Seth Rollins got another main event, and I believe that that's the biggest reason why Seth Rollins is going to go over, because Seth Rollins is a guy over the last few years, he's done a lot of losing to really help reestablish guys like Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, who were coming back into the company. He put a lot of hard work in to really bring legitimacy to that World Heavyweight Championship, and you look at it right there, I think Triple H definitely wanted to reward Seth Rollins there. So absolutely, I thought the storytelling was fantastic. Easily the match of night one. We'll see how it ranks overall depending on how the matches go for WrestleMania. We'll be ranking WrestleMania matches like I do every year, from least to best, so we'll see where it ultimately ranks up, but definitely this was the best match of night one, and the storytelling was on point, absolutely. So overall, I really enjoyed these three guys, went out there, laid it all on the line, and delivered what I thought was a very good WrestleMania main event easily. So much hat off to all these guys' performances. And so overall, that's my thoughts on WrestleMania 41 Night 1, aka WrestleMania 41 Saturday. It did not feel as big to me as the last couple of WrestleManias that Triple H has been creatively controlling, such as WrestleMania 39 and 40. Like when night one ended of those shows, man, it felt like a huge big deal. Like, man, I'm like, this is amazing, and I can't wait to see how the second night ends up going. So I didn't really get that. These matches on this show overall, there was not a bad match. It was good. Was it great? Yeah, I don't know. Like, well, honestly, I can't say I'm probably going to see myself going back to watch most of these matches at WrestleMania. The triple threat match was awesome. And Naomi and Jade Cargill, definitely awesome. And the other matches were matches that you probably would have seen on Monday Night Raw. There were good matches. It kind of goes back to what I always say about NXT. Often when Triple H was doing it, and even now with Shawn Michaels, with what he's delivering, especially on like that Stand and Deliver show, you're getting you're gonna get either a good show or a great show, but never a bad show. And that's kind of what I feel like with this WrestleMania. It's not great so far for night one, not great, but it's not bad either. It's good. And obviously I know that you have a higher expectation when it comes to WrestleMania. You want nothing but greatness, and that's kind of what I felt like we got out of night ones of WrestleMania 39 and 40. This one was just decent, okay. Like I said, I can't really complain about anything on this show. Like, there's nothing bad on this show. There really isn't. So that I can't bash it. But it kind of didn't reach those high level ceilings. It was okay. It was okay, good solid show. A good solid show with a big stage and lights and glamour of WrestleMania is what we got here. But the main event absolutely delivered, and I think all the other matches on here were definitely good matches, and some definitely had their even great moments and stuff like that. So I am looking forward to WrestleMania 41. So I'm gonna go over to the chat here and see if we got any commentary. I'm not sure how much my reach is going out on this one, just because yeah, okay, so we have some chats here, but for whatever reason it's not displaying in my side for whatever. I got Casters Labs, so let's see what we see here. Yeah, I don't know why it's not displaying here. Is it on Caster Labs? We're live here. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I don't know why they're not showing on my end of the screen. But that being said, let's see. We got SMP was in the chat earlier. Said, I love how Naomi became a top heel so quickly. Yeah, I agree. She is absolutely phenomenal. Naomi, I'm really loving where this is going. I think even though she lost to Jade Cargill, Naomi certainly has a opportunity here to probably win Money in the Bank and go on and become world champion again, because I think this whole new heel persona she's gonna get over, and I respect that she's changed it up and everything. It's like I said, I want to see Charlotte Flair change it up. We're in a time where the New Day, Naomi, and even John freaking Cena have changed it up. I would love to see Charlotte portray another character, because I am a Charlotte Flair fan. It's just like with Roman Reigns, he was doing the same thing for so long, and it was so refreshing to see him reinvent himself as a tribal chief, and look where he is now. So I would love to see the same thing from Charlotte Flair. But yeah, I think Naomi has a good shot of winning Money in the Bank and eventually going into become a world champion again. So I would love to see it. Earl Shooterbell, if I said your name right, I apologize. Thank you for joining the chat. What would be cool, says you, what would be cool, but it's not possible. Dom wins title, turns on Balor and turns on Liv and goes back to Rhea. Okay, so I guess what you're mostly trying to say there is that tomorrow Dominic Mysterio, who I actually do have predicted in the no DQ predictions lead, I did actually choose him to win the Intercontinental title. So yeah, I think he can basically win that title. I think turning on Balor is definitely something. There's been a lot of tension building up between those two. As far as Liv and Rhea go, Liv, I don't know. I think keeping Liv and Dominic together right now is cool. I think it still works. There's a lot you can get out of there. Going back to Rhea, don't really see a reason for them to go back to Rhea. I think their story is done. They don't need each other. It was really it's something that we needed. Like, for the longest time, Dominic really needed Rhea Ripley to get any sort of heel heat, because she got so popular, and they really needed each other in that sense. And then Dominic Rhea Ripley, I feel like being with Rhea on TV was really helping him basically establish himself more as a heel. So they both really needed each other, but now they're far beyond it. Dominic is doing fantastic on his own. I think he's going to go babyface sooner than later, sometime in the near future in WWE. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Earl also says, I would give a night 7.1 out of 10. It started slow and the main event saved the show. Yeah, I can agree with that. Fair assumption, because yeah, like I said, I can't say this first night was great, but I can't say it's bad either, because man, we've seen some WrestleManias that just weren't it. And I've seen every WrestleMania in WWE history, even the ones that I weren't born yet. Even from the ones I've gone back and watched, the ones that I wasn't even born yet when they went on. So yeah, 7-1 outside. Like as I said, yeah, it was good. It wasn't bad. But I couldn't say it was among the greats either. Good. Main event, yeah, main event absolutely did. Like, if you're gonna go out of your way to watch some of these matches, if you only got a limited amount of time, I would say probably the main event. And I really like the Naomi and Jade Cargill match. I thought that was good. Jacob Fatu and LA Knight was good too as well. Yeah, those were probably like the three big matches that really stood out to me. And Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair was a good match too as well. So yeah, I mean, like I said, nothing bad, but yeah, that was really cool there, I would say. Earl also says, I really would have wanted to see that three-way tag team match instead of the New Day match. Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying in the tag team match, is there was so much attention built up early on in January for all those multiple teams that had been feuding for months, and I thought that was Triple H's way of making sure that, okay, when we get to WrestleMania, it doesn't feel like we're just throwing all these teams in a big match because we want to get them on the show. It's like there's a reason all these teams have been even feuding with each other, and only for them to say we're just going to do a big TLC match, because I shoot WrestleMania, Motor City Machine Guns versus the Street Profits absolutely would have been a banger for that. I thought that would have been fantastic, man, because for WrestleMania, especially too, Motor City Machine Guns, they didn't work like 20 years to get to the WWE, and then they don't even get a match at WrestleMania. Like, man, that like, wow. So yeah, it is what it is there. That TLC match is probably going to be awesome, and we're probably going to look back and be like, that should have been on the WrestleMania card. Once again, nothing against the New Day or the War Raiders. I'm a fan of both teams, but yeah, I mean, I would have hoped that they would have been able to fit some more time on the show for them. See, Earl also says the New Day match felt like a Monday Night Raw match. Yep, that's exactly similar to what I said. I said it was earlier in the review. I said it felt like a good TV level match, like something you just see on Raw or SmackDown, but it didn't feel like a WrestleMania level match. And maybe had, like I said, Triple H just put in that time and effort into the storyline a lot sooner, they could have given us some good time to get the fans really invested into that match and everything. But yeah, even if they would have found a way to involve Big E in some sort of non physical role and everything, that could have added a lot of heat to that match, because man, when the New Day turned heel, fans were hot for it, and then there was just not much done to follow up with it. And unfortunately, just 2 weeks before that, before the main event or WrestleMania, you get to that. So it's like, yeah. Let's see, he also says, I want to see if Paul Heyman dies on Monday. Oh, I doubt that. They're going to make us wait for it. Like, it took a while for CM Punk to finally get Paul Heyman back in that Hell in a Cell match with Ryback and everything. So it's probably going to be a while. But yeah, I'm hoping Paul Heyman does actually on Monday go into detail and talk about how, yeah, look at the bloodline. My tribal chief left me hanging high and dry. CM Punk, you only wanted that favor. And where were you when Seth Rollins was? What if Seth Rollins was legitimate about beating me up? How much longer were you going to wait to come on out and stuff? Shouldn't you have been out there the moment you heard Seth Rollins' music? So these are legitimate stuff. And honestly, I've always said this about fiction and storytelling. The best villain stories are the ones that make sense. You don't necessarily agree with what they're doing because they're going about it the wrong way, but if they go like, he's got a point. So, I mean, I think that would be fantastic and everything. So, yeah, for sure. Well, you all, it is midnight around here, Central Time, Chicago time. So, I'm going to go ahead and call it the night. I will be back tomorrow for a review of WrestleMania 42. Thank you all for coming to the chat, Earl and SMP, as well as I'll be back in the morning, too, with another review or ranking where we'll be ranking the WrestleMania trilogy. So 2 live streams tomorrow coming here on my new WWE, my second YouTube channel, exclusively where my WWE content is going now. Until next time, take care.